And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Into the Gamer Days Valorant Community Cup. The lower bracket run continues now for another set of teams, which will be Team Asterisk up against the members of Last Hope. Yesterday, Last Hope had a very upsetting showing, I would say, in their matchup against Gang Gang Galaxy. They just couldn't really shape up to be the team that was expected. But Salty, now that you're by my side to bring you this kind of Valorant action here, I want to know your opinion. Do you think that Team Asterisk have what it takes to take this victory, or will it be Last Hope's last chance to keep themselves in this tournament?
Oh, by the way, I need to tell this to the audience as well. So I am currently, ladies and gentlemen, in the Reverend Esports Bootcamp, which is usually my home. I spoke to Deathmaker, who was available, that I'm commentating this event, which is called Intel Gamer Days, and he asked me, what was that question? He asked me something regarding one of the teams who was in the lower bracket. He was like, if this team is playing in the lower bracket, who is playing in the upper bracket? And basically, the conclusion of that conversation was that Asterisk is the team to actually watch out for throughout this tournament. Like, they are the team to beat.
Absolutely.
Right? And he literally said that Antidote is coaching that team. Is Antidote coaching the team? And I was like, yeah, Antidote is coaching the team apparently. He's like, bro, there's no way anyone else will win. So when you ask me this question, I don't think Last Hope they will have an easy time beating Asterisk if they do decide to actually beat them tonight.
It's going to be difficult. They need to take over so many different, like, they need to jump over so many different hurdles to even get an opportunity to do anything like this, especially when you look at the map selection. And I'm pretty sure that your buddy Orangutan over there can kind of agree.
Hey,
yeah,
Aggie,
you can kind of agree on this
hey,
factor too.
Hey, why did you not ask me a question? I'm sitting here, no? Am I not?
I'll ask you a question soon enough, my buddy.
I want a question.
Okay, do you want a question now, or do you want it later?
I want to support Team Last Hope because they only have one hope, and I want to be their last hope.
Yes, Salty's been teaching you a couple of his old tricks, hasn't he? The comedy of Salty is really bleeding out from inside of you. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, as Orangutan has given his 2 cents, the Orangutan has already given his last 2 cents on the side of Last Hope, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the people back at home, they are fans of Last Hope as well. But then again, like, I kind of agree with Salty on this regard that I don't think they have a very good chance of taking this victory for themselves, just because looking at the raw statistics, how they generally play, how the team has been performing throughout the entire tournament. Yeah, they're a good squad, but when you compare Asterisk versus a team of Last Hope that just doesn't have that level of synergy, that prize pool that we talk about, the 3 lakh INRs that these players are fighting for, just I don't see a universe where Last Hope are going to be able to make it happen. Not because I'm a hater, not because I'm being biased, but because the statistics just don't really stray to their side whatsoever. Because Asterisk have proven to be that team that from every single instance just can be the winners. And Last Hope, unless they pull off a miracle and a half where Junkie drops like 50 kills on the server somehow, I don't see how they're going to be able to take this victory.
Let me just tell you the solution, right? The solution to this problem, bro, I mean, we won't be able to judge it or hypothetically pick out a winner. We have to play all 3 games, and we have to find out how or who wins the competition. But if we do win, what are they getting? Them is this prize pool, which is going to be 3 lakh rupees, a big amount for all of these athletes who are competing, and definitely a point of motivation for them. Because again, you've seen professional tournaments with all these high prize pools, and they do attract the amateurs. But then you kind of set things up for the semi-pros and the ones who are aspiring to be the next generation of professional players. I think Intel has done a fantastic job to set that platform, ladies and gentlemen. And this is exactly how this platform has been laid. Look at the format. Qualifiers, single elimination, best of 1 series throughout for 4 days. I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably from the round of 128 or round of 64. Aggie will actually know the fact in much more detail. But then we move on to the playoffs, where teams don't just get one opportunity to prove themselves, but a double elimination with best of 3s being played. Isn't that amazing? 29th August, 4th of September. get non-stop action, and then finally you move on to the grand finals, the best of three series as well. To finish things off, 5th of September is going to be a lot of action, and I think we are going to be seeing someone from Asterisk or Chillcord on that night.
It's gonna be difficult though, because think about it. Asterisk as a team, yeah, they're really potent and they're very powerful, but they've yet to prove themselves up against a lot of those much more experienced teams. They only went up against Chillcord, and Chillcord were the ones to send them into this lower bracket, right? So Rat Syndicate is still on the table of contention because they made it to the lower bracket grand finals, who the members of Asterisk have to go through to take that one stage ticket over to that grand final stage to finally showcase that, hey, I know you have beaten us once, but that doesn't mean that we are going to lose again. This is where the turning point for this game has to happen for
You know
this
what?
particular team. The
You know
first
what,
neutral
I-
map is Haven. Yeah, go on.
I think we would love to actually have a bracket graphic from the next day as well. We can actually do that. It'll, it'll be amazing. But look at this. Last Hope versus Asterisk on the map of Haven. Compositions. Double controller on one side. Meanwhile, we're going double duelist from Last Hope. And we've seen Genesis do really well on that Neon. But I just wanted to bring out that point that I think looking at the bracket stage of where exactly we are, I think it can definitely give us one of the finalists apart from Chilcot as well. Because I think there might be a chance that Asterisk might make it.
Yep. It's not even a chance, it's almost a guarantee. Only if the members of Asterisk have not really been placed in a bad spot. Juggy is going to be the one to pick up on the Reyna as well. And looking at Genesis, he's been a star playmaker for that team. All of these players will be put to the limit here to go up against a composition that Asterisk have in store for them, which is, of course, one of my favorites, being the Viper and, of course, the Omen. They have every single right to win this. They have the coach, one of the best players in the entire country previously in his prime, and now possibly one of the best coaches. You never really know. Antidote has been an all-rounder in almost every regard. But then again, when you have so many resources into your arsenal and you have so many different options, how do you utilize them? That's always going to be something that I will be an advocate for, that no matter what happens, no matter how much you can bring onto the table, if you don't know how to utilize the options that you are being given, then as a team, you're just going to be lost in the sauce, as some would say.
Lost in the sauce.
That is literally the analogy that you could use for this.
Lost in the sauce. Anyway, I think talking about Antidote's coach instinct, I think it's not his first. I think he's done it before, and he has done it for tier 1 teams as well. Last season, BCSA, he was the mentor slash coach for True Rippers as well, where Deathmaker was actually a part of that playing 5. So, and they did relatively well. I think they came on to the grand finals, if I'm not mistaken, if I just slightly slipped. I was there at that event as well. Antidote was successful over there. Antidote was also coaching one of the teams who was in the tier 2, tier 3 scene, but I don't essentially know the name, but I know it since he was already in the boot camp. So I think as a coach, he definitely has all the cards. But then I'll get you something, right? It's not always the Zidane analogy that we always put in. Zidane, as a player in football, was one of the greats. As a coach in football, has been one of the greats. There has been instances where a very good player has failed to actually turn out to be a great coach, and a great, not so great player has actually turned out to be a great coach. So you get the point, right? Things aren't always 1 equals 1. That can actually change. But what I'm more interested in is which of the teams is actually more prepared today, because I see a lack of preparation from teams when they actually come to the tournament. They don't have set plays, especially the ones who are semi-pro. They don't have set plays. They don't have proper plans to actually execute against the opposition. And I think at that stage, having that extra man, having that extra planning will be that deciding factor.
Yeah, particularly in this game as well, that planning is going to be a necessity for them to win, because knowing Asterisk and knowing what they like to do, if the members of Last Hope haven't really done a VOD review, it's going to be a very difficult one for them to try and win here, because Last Hope as a team, they're generally not really a squad that has a plan in mind when they're trying to play. They do scrim. I know for a fact that they do scrim quite often, but a lot of their strategies revolve around really isolating out players so that they can make their mechanical skill shine its brightest rather than its utility usage. And of course, that is a strat that a lot of teams really do tend to utilize, but Valorant as a game now doesn't really structure that mechanical prowess as much as it used to. And as we're going to be jumping on down over into the game, Haven, of course, is another map that, yeah, of course, when you have that mechanical skill, it gives you a lot of value, but that's not the end all be all that you can always play for. There needs to be map control. There needs to be proper utility usage to flush out different corners. There's a lot of variables that you need to consider that is just not a point and click adventure game anymore. Valorant's evolved in more ways than one. And hopefully Last Hope, they understand this. And Asterisk, they're going to be putting them to the test here to its fullest degree. Xion's going to be the first line of contact from the side of Garage, opting for a couple of jiggles here. Players already spotted in Yash. He's going to be the first one to take that fight. That's the Cypher now gone, and this is what I was worried about. There's no utility on the C side, and it's been instantly flooded onto by the members of Asterisk.
Find out in their backlines. They do decide to venture though. The Neon and the Omen trying to break in from the C entrance and garage. Meanwhile, the Sova in position. Juggy finds the first frag against Kibon. This is, or might actually be, a good entry, but Yash finds Lavish. One big dent in their arsenal. Once again, Caramel in position, but Juggy,
oh my god, Juggy
outshines. He gets a quadra. And honestly, out of nowhere. That was an open side where he was just shooting bullets in every single direction, but he still managed to get every single one of it.
Juggy is such a coin flip, Salty. I don't know. This guy probably has the best games of his entire life, dropping 40 plus kills in a game. And then on the next one, he's just going to be super quiet. But when he starts to hit shots, this man just cannot be stopped. The aim on this one player is something that you always need to look out for. As you can already tell, the members of Asterisk now, for that last round, they will be shaking in their boots a little bit here. Will John tried to go in for a bit of a jiggle peek, does get caught out by it. Yash instantly answers back in kind, does take out Xion, but because of the fact that he was near Kibojon, I think he accidentally picked up the spike. But I do believe that Risen gets out with it, but never mind. Juggy immediately with a little bit of a spam catches him out. Massey's going to be able to shut down another, and one by one the players of Last Hope, they do fall, but at the same time Asterisk just couldn't really get one more for themselves. A good stable round win coming out from them, with the buy rounds now coming through for the members of Asterisk.
We kind of predicted it from happening, right? I mean, Last Hope, especially with the players that they've got. Genesis, we know, has been super successful on that Neon. Chucky denied has been insane, to be honest. Didn't expect this much proactiveness, especially being Arena on the defensive side. Your positioning matters a lot in order for you to actually get kills, and that depends on how good your instincts are. And I feel Chucky so far has done a fantastic job, but nonetheless, not praising too much about towards Last Hope. I feel like Asterisk this round have a massive chance, especially Caramel and Yash. These two together have been phenomenal. You look at the way
Absolutely.
Caramel was influential last game when we saw Asterisk, right? You saw the way Yash was getting those impact frags. I think this is time for Yash to showcase his side entry skills.
Yeah. Yash has just been one of those driving forces on that Neon in some instances, but he has yet to prove himself to be a Neon that is worthwhile for the team. Because, in my personal opinion, Yash as a player, he really shines the brightest when he's on that Jet and, of course, that Raze, but he is a little bit more further behind when it comes down to the Neon department compared to players like Homeboy and Genesis. Now, Genesis has proved time in and time out that when you allow his Neon to really start running across across the server, it is very difficult to stop him, especially when he has a shotgun in his hand. He's an absolute menace. But Yash, on the other side of the spectrum, he's much more team orientated on the Neon. You won't see him being super flashy. He will make space for his team and make those entries work well for them so that his team can occupy it. But how much of it is going to help you whenever you have a team that is so aim-centric like the members of Last Hope? Yeah, playing it systematically is good for you when both teams have a lot of structure, but when there is no structure involved, or almost no structure, sorry, because there is some, then you need to know how to adapt to certain situations. And in this scenario, adaptability is always going to be a little bit of a question mark for a lot of these teams to figure out, as the pause did roll around and the momentum that Last Hope did get just instantly being put onto a halt. I'm pretty sure that all the members of Asterisk now, they can take a couple of steps back and just try to figure out on what to do next.
That actually should be the ideal strategy, to be honest. While we still wait for the game to resume, ladies and gentlemen, throw in some questions. We can have a little bit of a chit chat, a little bit of an activity. If you're still watching, I think it's very interesting, aggressive, that today there are so many opportunities for you to actually showcase your skills. Imagine being a player possibly in when it was just Act 2, Act 3 rolling around, right? The scene did not have as many opportunities as you have today. So I feel it's amazing that brands like Intel have been working so hard, and I think in exchange for that, it's not just hosting tournament, it's also aiding the players and the people who want to play as well with products, with discounts, what they usually have had. I feel Intel has done an amazing opportunity and has always been that partner for gaming as well. But it seems like our partner for Valorant has actually given us some blessings themselves. The game resumes. Mr. Aggie, 4 seconds, 2-0. What are your thoughts?
Well, Asterisk does have a buy round going for them, and it seems as though the rush is where it's at. Smoke's coming out early, instant pushes over towards the side of short as well, just to try and bait out a couple of these players. This is a 3-stack over onto the A side, so they do have a proper read on what to expect from the members of Asterisk, but even then, up against a 3-stack with this much utility on the cards, they need to be careful of how they execute here onto the side. Positions are good. Mask doesn't really have the best of weapons to give him an advantage on this position. One missed out shot and they will instantly fall if they're not careful. Timing is key for this engagement. Smokes do come through, and it's going to be Mask with the first. Does get spotted out. Yash instantly going for the frag here from the sidelines, but the trade's still in their favor. Juggy, oh my god, straight through the smoke. He's going to be able to find it. Wait a minute, Juggy, what were these shots? It was so clean and so snappy. As Last Hope immediately dips out of the sight, and Asterisk left to pick up those fallen pieces.
Forget about those shots. Look at the way Chucky went out of that site. He committed a crime, man. Just he bunny hopped his way out of the site into its safety. But, well, that was a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but it did not actually turn out to be something indifferent from what was supposed to happen. That is Team Asterisk getting that first round for themselves. It's Maggie, it's not Asterisk. It's Asterisk, which makes pronouncing it so much more difficult. I don't know why the team decided to actually do that.
Gonna have to wait and see. This last round really was up close and personal for them, as Juggy now once again lucky to take this engagement up close to the angle. He's ready for the swing. The spray continues, and he's going to be able to hit it. Now looking for more here. Instantly tries to go in for a runaround for the turn. He's not going to be able to get out scotch-free, though. Instead, it's going to be two of his players who do fall in the process. Grammel with one more on the sidelines, taking out his own Sentinel brethren. It's now Yash. First in line, opt for the swing, but he didn't really clear out the angles that he was supposed to. Instead, it's going to be Mask who instantly brings him back down to earth, as Asterisk down over to a 2v3 situation. Where do they want to find the turnaround point for this? As Karamel gets another kill, that's the op, now fallen onto the floor. 2v2 with the entire map to play for. It's all about the timing. As Risen, it's knee-deep in enemy territory.
Oh, for sure he is. But he's not going to find success. That is a problem. could have been a little more proactive, could have actually waited for the arrival of his comrade Caramel, who was not at a good HP himself either.
Take this
Should
engagement
have
up
relied
close
on
to the
the
angle. He's ready for the
anticipation
swing, be able to hit it. Now looking for more here instantly.
Almost
Tries to go in for a
definitely.
runaround down to
But look
earth.
at this, Chucky.
As Asterisk
Always
down
spotting
over to a
lines. I don't
2v3
know something
situation.
about this lad feels for sure he is. Caramel, you waited for the arrival of his just one comrade Caramel, and I felt like this 2v2 could have actually been so much more effective had they ran that timing. Somebody would have gotten an opportunity or the other. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, third round for Team Last Hopes. And Asterisk, as soon as that happens, it seems like they've actually picked up a tactical pause, which did come in from the GOAT, the legend, Antidote. And what do you think, Aggie, can be Antidote's message to the team?
I think it's just trying to be a little bit more slower in their approach. I don't think they're really playing for information, and they're taking a lot of solo 1v1 fights. So for me at least, if I was an Antidote shoe, I would tell them to go in for a proper execute for once instead of just trying to take a much more of a slower ended approach. A full scale execute for these guys would be a bit more better for their overall engagement. They know one of the weaker links has to be that Cypher on the C side, plus with the players coming outside of BA. So for now, they're gonna need to wait and see. Op still in the hands of Genesis, so it's gonna be an issue for them. As Yash was none the wiser for it. He expected the op to be towards mid, but instead Genesis, again, these players play it as if it's like ranked. So you have to expect that there's a good possibility one player is holding from the garage angle.
The drone is being sent from the garage. It does clear out a couple of those positions, but Xeon still breaks in. Caramel with the Sheriff. Just so good, right? Chucky quite back in his line and not playing in, giving in the territory and the space to the opposition. But he wants them to funnel in towards the B side. That is what Asterisk has been looking forward to, but it seems like they're hesitating for something. And look at the way Last Hope is holding positions. But this time, Mask gets caught by Lil Boy with the one good shot from that Sheriff. Finds success on towards one very important player.
No!
But Juggy instantly trades him, rise and falls as well. No controller for Team Last Hope right now.
We need to try and get this kill, and oh my god, Kibojan immediately just turns around and gets that kill. This was such a smart and well played out plan coming in from the members of Asterisk. They utilized the Killjoy lockdown on the A side, knowing that there's a good chance someone's going to be coming into the flank immediately to try and catch us off. They played for the time so well, but now Lavish in towards the corner. They need to expect this hit to come in, and Kibojan's going to be able to save him out. This could have been a disastrous moment if Lavish get close enough to immediately stop this spike from getting planted. And this would have been around going in the favor of Last Hope. Now it's all up to Juggy in a very bad angle initially for these fights. And with so much utility waiting for him on the opposite side. Yes, a lot to try and break through, to try and win out on this round. Up in the hands of one, swing across. He doesn't really know that there's so many players coming across him. The crossfires are beautiful coming in from their side too, as Caramel in for the sidelines. He is slowly walking up. He makes a little bit of noise, and now Juggy does find one frag, but immediately needs to run on away. 3-2 on the scorecards, ladies and gentlemen. It's Asterisk. They traded 50 for themselves, and a very well played out 50, because every single thing that they did from the start up till the very end was planned through and through.
On air. Juggy bhai, full turn on air. Crazy stuff. But still, again, you have to find these positions. You have to find these kills early on in the round if you actually want to make a difference. Last Hope, they've actually been playing on the back lines, giving Asterisk the space to come in, do the damage, and then has been feeding in on the kills, which does not really work that way. It will always pay off if you get them kills early. And look at Lavish. He knows exactly that all he's got to do is wait. And the strategy is simple, to try and let Asterisk funnel in. What's funny is that the Omen is actually holding that angle with an operator waiting for Last Hope to peek out. So Asterisk is actually playing what is not supposed to ask of them.
Risky. Grammel already. Just find the opener over onto one. Xion's position's already revealed to. They can't really take an over-aggressive fight anymore. Xion's been one of the weaker links for the team in a couple of these rounds, and honestly speaking, Last Hope, this Cypher playing so aggressive is gonna be the thing that makes them fall. Now, one after the other, they do find the frags, and it's gonna be ASTERISK who just keeps on answering in their own way. 3-3 on the scorecard is pretty much imminent here as Juggy's no longer on the server to cause a lot of problems, but never mind. Genesis could be the turnaround point for their team. So they do find one frag and a weapon to really play in this particular round. Yash with a fast slide in to instantly take out Genesis as well. So Last Hope didn't really have much of a hope in this particular round, but it's gonna be the thing that makes them fall. Now 1-3 on the scorecard is pretty much imminent here as Juggy's no longer on the server to call this particular round because this last round was a safe coming out from them. It's gonna be the thing that Genesis pick up another op, or will they just try to go in for the usual buys on their own side? As ASTERISK looking for a much more of a deeper ended C-side execute, with all their members just waiting outside and Caramel being the only one for alert.
Let's see. For now though, Last Hope in a 5-man stack. Not a 5-man stack, a 3-man stack on towards the A side, but it is Asterisk who break open onto the C side quite comfortably. It was Yash running in, the Hunter's Fury finding Juggy and Xion without a duel being taken down. Asterisk. This has been a flawless entry so far as Caramel clears on the backlines as well. Not a lot, not an inch in fact, being given away in this attack. Last man must. Could just find one for retribution, but that is it. Asterisk. The redemption arc has been brilliant, brother.
Absolutely, and poor old Risen has yet to get himself onto the scorecard. Same on the level of Xion. Both of these players are having issues, but the thing is, the Cypher on the defense should be the one to always find value, to be that anchor for the team and get those multi-frags to allow your team enough time to try and come in for a rotation on the defensive side. But Risen's been doing his job. His paranoias have been perfect. His smoke timing's been accurate as well. He's doing whatever he can to make sure that his team does find all the value that they need. Genesis' timing already being thrown off guard as he's gonna get swung upon. Recon Bolt now utilized to just try and give them a tiny bit more space. Genesis does find another kill, down over to a 3v3 situation. Now Juggy on the opposite side gets another one for himself too. And here is where the turnaround point happens for the members of Last Hope. 3v2 now to try and keep it going for themselves. Rojon's low on HP, but he's still going to be able to find the frag. Lavish doesn't hit the shot that he needed to, but still Juggy is alive. As long as he is on the server, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way that Last Hope are going to lose hope onto any of these fights.
Let's find out this time what happens. Keep on. So low on HP. Still finds value with that recon dart. Xion not actually shy to give his position away. Still find that kill. The Viper Spit has been nullified. But Keybone finds success. No HP on this land, but still he is somewhat in a position where he can fight back. As Juggy keeps on following. This is going to be a long chase on towards the A side, ladies and gentlemen. Juggy, who certainly has been using the third eye quite well. Man has been finding targets beautifully, but this time Keybon does have the operator to work with, and I think this is the strategy which has been executed really well to hold that angle with that operator from that angle, and he finds success. This is perfect play from Keybon. Couldn't actually do it better. Pick up the spike, pick up the perfect weapon to actually hold that side back and move away from danger. Use timing to your And I think one of the best things which I like about this guy
Find
was
all the value that they need.
was
Genesis' timing
constant
already being
right
thrown
from
off.
the beginning. He
Try
knew he
and
was
keep it going
going
for
to do
themselves.
this.
Rojon's low on HP.
Plant it on towards the side, quite deep into the side rather, and hold it away from shot with the operator. He did not have any second thoughts, and this is something which is brilliant.
Absolutely, in the plant position as well, coming in from Keybon to understand that, hey, if I plant in this exact position, I know for a fact that either he has to do two things. He has to flank, or he has to tap the spike first by jumping down from heaven, giving away his position. So that side of the map is now completely clear. There's no way he's going to be able to lurk up to it for free, just like the members of Asterisk, as they just take the Cypher out almost instantaneously. This is a little bit of a question mark on why this is happening in every single turn. I don't know why Xeon, he keeps on trying to take these early duels by trying to be aggressive, and it's hurting them in more ways than one. As a Cypher player, you need to be a little bit more reserved in your overall approach, and Asterisk's been punishing him constantly for these aggressive plays. Okay.
And all these players are actually giving them results aggressive. Look at that. Every single position has been marked. Every single angle has been checked. Little boy, it almost seems like systematic destruction from them. No matter what you try, you're going to get shut down. And keep on. Find success against Genesis. No chance has been given. No mercy being shown, especially after the 3 rounds. One timeout and antidote completely changes the look of this game. 3-6 the scoreline, 3 ultimates on Asterisk as well. They can use the overdrive, but they have really been reluctant in using all of those stuff. They've been like a perfect play, a perfect team structure that you can potentially see, but nonetheless we'll find out if Last Hope can counter that, but not this round, I guess. 5 sheriffs.
Oh, love that lineup.
Usually, yeah, the lineup kind of sucked, but it's still fine. Yash will get caught from that.
Okay.
Now this is the first success that they were looking for. Hunter's Fury was implemented, but Ryzen was the one to find success. Nonetheless, 2 very important kills from either side. Asterisk have planted the spike butt, and they are in post-plant positions.
I love to see stuff like that happen with the tripwire. But for now, we're gonna need to see where they're gonna go with this one. Shots just keep on connecting as the members of Last Hope up and running for these fights. Keep the ball rolling in your court because the shots are reigning supreme as Jungie up and ready to go in for these kills. All up to Caramel now to go in for the shots, but up against Jungie, it is just not gonna work. The man, the myth, the legend, the demon on the server on this arena. Last Hope. He is their last hope. As Asterisk now, they showcase that they can bleed, but honestly, this round really just boiled down to Yash running into a tripwire and then just being sent to Jesus by 2 people shooting at him.
True that. Caramel, but did find success against Mask. One of those kills which did feel quite natural coming in from Asterisk, but Last Hope, I think this was a very well fought round. They had control of it right from the beginning, and one thing is for certain, if Genesis and Juggy are still standing together till the end of the round, you know that the round will end on your favor. These 2 duelists have amazing gun power, to be honest. Start things off once again. Asterisk
not again.
Finding themselves in trouble. But Little Boy and Caramel, they find 2 quick kills to return it back to Last Hope, and Asterisk now have a man advantage. Aggressive. Players coming in from Garage, players coming in from CT will have no impact if all 4 players of Asterisk keep on marking their territory just the way they are doing right now.
Gonna need to see where they're gonna go with this one. Skaramel now in towards the corner. Yash still alive and kicking in this round does mean that there's a good chance they can take this victory. Eskiboj comes in strong with his own kill. 4-7 on the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. Keep on. Let's get another one for himself, and for now, Last Hope. They're looking to turn this one around for themselves. Still, bit of a chance and an opportunity at the end of the day to just really finish things off at the bare minimum. But for Asterisk, where do they want to go with this one here? Last round of this half for them, so an A-side execute seems to be imminent. as the setup's good, but Lavish with a Bucky sitting inside of the smoke. Ooh boy, he can cause a lot of damage here if the members of Asterisk are not careful. Never mind, they're prepared for it, and Yash is going to be the one to shut him down. That's going to make the attack that's going to make the overall defense for the retake close to impossible, but this Killjoy lockdown was not really placed out that well.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of deep openings inside of the back of side.
Absolutely. I think it was extremely short to actually set up that Killjoy ultimate over there, but they had to commit to it because they did not find space, especially behind that smoke. But Asterisk this time, though, they do have control, but with Keyboard falling, it seems like it was a sacrificial pawn. Last Hope will teleport down onto the sea side where Asterisk is holding, but how do they plan to protect this? Did they not see this coming? Weird stuff coming in from Team Asterisk. This is primitive. Not sure if Risen is capable. Spots both these two players right at the money. And of course gave away that round with 7-5. The comeback and the recovery from Last Hope was good, but weird stuff coming in from Asterisk, to be honest. You should have seen that omen coming from there.
Another Asterisk. There's been a little bit of a bad situation coming out from them, but it doesn't really mean it's the end of the world because Asterisk, they still do have a 75 scoreline to really play for. Last Hope, though, on the opposite side, they're going to be really happy with this one because going into this attack, they do have a little bit more of an easier time going in for these set plays and executes, but even then, Asterisk, they have a double controller setup. This double controller setup will always be a nuisance to break through if your opponents do have the proper read. But in this particular round, it doesn't really seem to be the case, as it's only going to be the Sova. Kibon just waiting to see if he can find one kill. Maybe Tate playing it a little bit too risky. The shots do connect, though. Genesis, beautiful frag over onto one. As now they're looking for more. Over from the sidelines, an instantaneous rotation does come through on the opposite side of the map. Karamo now waiting to see if he can find one more frag for himself here from the sidelines, but too many players rushing in towards him. Needs to go in for the multi-frags. Yes, he does. He does find two. Takes it to an equalizer, but look at the positioning coming out from Yash. Does have the frenzy, but cannot get that kill. Still can isolate out the players from the opposite side, as Mask still needs to try and fight into him to try and even get close for this angle. They can't go in for the rotation as long as Yash is alive, and Yash, he does find the kill, but somehow Genesis gets the other one behind him. As for now, Yash is the last player alive, and for Last Hope, he needs to go in for the kill, but he just goes in for the chase, and Mask just catches him on the opposite side of the smoke, 6-7.
This is so weird, man. This is so weird. This cat and mouse chase that we get to see first. Last Hope were the ones who actually almost got the side entry. Then meanwhile, they do decide to fall back, which was, again, understandably slow, but Caramel in his position actually was perfect to stop that in the dead of their tracks, but weirdly, Last Hope decides to move on to the A side once again, and Asterisk just fails the chase. It was weird that entire round. I fumbled 4 times while iterating it. Nonetheless, Last Hope this time, though, moving on towards the A side, the sewers have been occupied, but look at the way Asterisk is moving. 4 players on the backside this time. They are adamant to find this team back on their chase. Meanwhile, the Sova moving onto the backlines to give them space to enter the site. This seems like a very typical trap to funnel Last Hope into the side, but how do they manage to come back is the question, as Caramel falls yet again, the first one to do some damage. Keep on holding on towards heaven, finds Genesis himself, Lavish in a position where he can strike. It does have the Spectre as well, the automatic bullets, a lot of damage, and the economy paid the price to Asterisk. Last Hope could not really do much over there, but did not have to do much over there.
The guns are going to be coming online now for the members of Asterisk here. But they need to see where this is going to be going. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to be taking a small bit of a technical pause here for the teams, I really have to highlight the fact that on the 77 scoreline, you can tell that the entire squad is now in the proper mindset. Every single player from Last Hope, they know that this is their last chance to keep their hopes and dreams alive for this particular tournament, and they're going up at all cylinders to try and take this victory for themselves. You can tell that their engagements are a lot more informed in the way that they're going in for side executions, but it's just not going to be as simple as just going in for executes anymore. You need to build upon the layers, especially when you're going up against a double controller setup. We'll have to see how they're going to be doing this one, because apparently it's going to be taking a little while longer, ladies and gentlemen, to settle everything out for the players. So we're going to be heading on down over into a very short little break. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description, because Reliance Digital has you covered for your Intel 4-powered gaming laptops. And as we're setting everything up, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a lot more Valorant action. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the Intel Gamer Days Valorant Community Cup. We had to go into a very short little technical break here just to see exactly what was going on. Apparently, there were some issues on the back end that the players had to fix up. But now that they have, we're gonna be jumping straight on back in towards the match. Where we did leave off was an equal to equal scoreline with 7-7 coming in for either side of this, as this game of Valorant has just started to heat things up in a way that we were not really expecting, because ASTERISK as a team were arguably the home favorites to really take this game, but for this particular instance, the squad's just not really been, how do you put it, not really been able to find a lot of those valuable moments that they were able to get a turning around point from. A lot of these rounds really just came down to that individual momentary brilliance that we witnessed from the members of Last Hope, that just gave them those round wins that you were not really expecting. And situations like this, it was not just a flash in the pan. It kept on happening consistently in a couple of these rounds. But then again, Asterisk as a squad as well, they were making a couple of significant mistakes in the way that they were trying to execute with this overall setup, where in some situations you could tell that the team had a proper game plan in mind, while in others they just were expecting their opponents to just rush into them and they would be the ones to take those fights. I love this constant tug and pull that both of these squads have showcased throughout this match, but with the buy rounds now coming through for the members of Asterisk, arguably the defensive side is where they will feel the most comfortable. They have that double controller, they have the proper Viper setup in mind, they know what to expect from their opponents, so it's all about building upon those small mistakes. Last Hope, they're gonna have a lot of gaps in their armors. There's no way they're gonna be able to fill it out by having Arena on their overall team composition, but the real question being is whether or not these fast rushes will be the end-all be-all for a player like Karamel. There's a bunch of things that you need to worry about, but Genesis, being the first one to take a fight like this, it's a bit risky, but now he's going to try to make a run for it. The C side already ripe for the picking, but considering so many of the members of Asterisk are just waiting for them to take a rush in towards C, this default set play is perfect. For now, though, I need to see where they're gonna go with this one. As for now, Yash is primed and waiting to see another fight. Risen, position reveal for one of the players, goes in for a couple of shot spots on the top of his head. It goes in for that immediate spam. The game sense working wonders for these players, as now the rotations once more coming through for the opposite side of the map here. It's Asterisk now. To see where they're gonna go with this one, as the last two players of Last Hope already spotted, with Junkie being a beeline run for it. With the opposite side, with back lane, a bit of a spam over onto Yash, was trying to run across, trying to get some info, as Risen gets that kill, and a 7-8 scoreline to give them this round win for themselves. And a very stable round win too, with none of their members falling. The members of Asterisk are just more than happy to take this victory and stabilize their economy even further. The more build-up that they have up against double duelist competition, the better that they're going to be able to perform, because at that point of the game, they can take a lot more active risks without any form of problems. For now, though, Karamo needs to be the player that you have to worry about over from the opposite side. He does get the trade for Yash at the bare minimum. A little bit risky, because if he did fall, this could have been a detrimental problem. In the corner, over from the side, it is going to be Little Boy who does find the multiple frags here for their side, but Junkie up for the running. The swings are perfect coming out from him. Instantly able to catch out two players, and now it's all up to Kibone to try and get this round for his team. Not the best of spots to try and get this one through. It's Juggy now looking for the kill. It's not going to be able to do so. Close quarters for the fight. A fast swing. He gets the 140 to the head. But Lavish, regardless of that scenario, does find the trade-off for himself. His teammates dealt the damage that they needed to make sure this round was a winnable cause for their team. This Last Hope, they still get the equalizer. This map of Haven seemingly will go the distance, ladies and gentlemen, as the teams, they're prepared and ready for Last Hope, it's not going to be looking that clean just yet. Asterisk, they still will have enough money to go in for buys because they didn't invest anything into that last round because they had everything to work for them. But Rizid, stuck in a corner, needs to get cleared out soon, and of course it's going to be Genesis who does find him. Both Neons had a shotgun, but seemingly the shotgun coming through from the members of Last Hope. It's just a little bit better for this fight. Swings across for those multi-kills. Kibone's going to be perfect for the double. And now, instant for the turnaround. Last Hope down to the last two players. Kibone does have the Hunter's Fury and the Recon Bolt soon enough coming in. Karamo good for another kill. Looks for the swing. The last player is already spotted. Drops down. And it's going to be Mask who does find one. But Kibone immediately able to bring him back down. That's going to be an 8-9 scoreline now. Going in favor of Asterisk. A constant tug and more for both of these sides. As they know for a fact that none of this is going to be simple, but and then simplicity is just not yet the name of the game for them. Zastric slow for the build-up, but fast when it comes down to getting these round wins for themselves. Is Yash opting to pick up that Outlaw, knowing that, hey, there's a good chance they're not going to have a lot of full buy armor working for them. We have to make sure that these engagements are pretty much in their favor at the bare minimum for now. It's Risen. Waiting on the opposite side of C-Long. Good positioning of the smoke as well to force these players to walk up outside of the smoke and be the first one to get caught out in a singular funnel. This little boy spots out one of the players, immediately shuts down Xeon. None the wiser for this engagement as they do make it work. These spots for them absolutely horrendous to deal with, as that Last Hope now trying to turn this one back, turn the clock around pretty much for their squad. As for Karamo, it's a waiting game to see how long he can wait in this particular angle. Juggy immediately comes in for the shots. The jiggles are perfect. Little boy over towards the corner. He's going to be expecting the Sova around it, but no, Lavish instead brings him back down to earth. Genesis now immediately comes in with the fast frags, with Lavish getting another one for himself straight through the smoke. Beautifully done as Kibone does equalize things out just a tiny little bit, shuts it down over to a 3v2 situation. As still Yash over from the sidelines needs to try and go in for the kill. One more player to be spotted in for the corner. Sight line! He finds the shot, but it's just not going to be enough. Instead, it's going to be Genesis to bring him back down. Last two players already spotted. Shock dart in the hands of Kibone. If he does hit it, he probably does. Never mind, the Neon does not fall, even though he's at 1 HP. And instead, it's going to be Junkie with a fast swing to take the equalizer. 9-9, ladies and gentlemen. And this was a technical thrifty round that was supposed to be won out by the members of Last Hope. But somehow, in some way, shape, or form, one after the other, they found those frags and Asterisk. They just gave it to them for free because they took too many isolated 1v1 duels. And Antidote's probably going to be giving them a scolding for this very particular reason, that why in the name of God, when you had the man advantage, kept on giving 1v1 to your opponents when you could have gone in for trades.
True that. And I know, knowing Antidote, that is not going to be just a scolding, quote unquote. I think that's going to be much more than that. He's going to be making them feel their mistakes, but nonetheless, managed quite different as a coach, ladies and gentlemen. But as to risk a massive lead being given away, to be honest, so far in a position where this half actually could have actually been starting from an 8-4. Currently, we are standing at ground zero, where Last Hope might actually have a chance to take this map of Haven, especially 4 ultimates on the attacking side. They Reyna playing really well so far. Genesis playing really well so far. It's almost like options diminishing for the likes of Asterisk. They do have that double controller, but the spaces are not being utilized well, it seems like.
Yeah, a lot of these rounds have really just been a lost cause for them. Asterisk. Hopefully they're going to be able to turn this one back with the pause that they have taken. Don't really have the good buys that they would need to try and hold on to these fights, though. Utility has been wasted, really bolts also utilized. So they do know that 2 players are on the A side, which is just a standard setup, but they know that there's going to be a full-on stack waiting for them on A. It's a real question. Especially after a pause, it's a little bit risky for you to take a fight like this, as Zeon's position already revealed. Players swinging across to try and find these frags, but they're so ready for it. Last hope. They took the engagement, but it's going to be one after the other. Juggy is going to be the first line of contact for this duel, but they have the entirety A side now open. It's going to be Last Hope for the first time in this entire game to take the lead for themselves. This is no longer... It's Last Hope getting a chance to take it one up against the Titans known as Asterisk.
I mean, at this point, it's so difficult to actually gauge who's going to win this competition or who's going to win this at map at least, because look at the way Last Hope has always been taking those fights. It seems like this is a team that has actually mastered the art of trading each other when it actually comes to Asterisk. Compare them. Last Hope will always have the greatest trading stats, but tonight it seems like Asterisk, they are playing very individualistic games, which is causing them problems. The Lit Boy, though, is going to find one through the smoke. Jackie has been taken down, has been one of those unlucky lads. Lit Boy jumping through that box is going to find Zeon as well. So double kill being found for Asterisk. A massive man advantage, forcing Last Hope to maybe hold that fire for long. Potentially look for the change of direction. The smoke cloud is going to come in from that Viper, but Lavish moving on towards Garage already might find Ryzen holding on to this angle. Needs to wait for the opposition to react, because if you do it instead, it might result detrimental to your success. Drone not finding anyone, but will hear those footsteps though. Recon not been sent in. Paranoia comes through as well as Lavish. He decides not to hit that Garage territory. Thus, Yash is aware that the next up option will be on towards the B side. And look at him holding his crosshairs. I like the defensive discipline from Asterisk. And this is what Antidote can always teach. This is what he has always been excelling at personally as well. But last hope, I think it's just their trading that has been so good. And this, look at this. Lavish finds the first frag against Yash. But Camel doubles up. And now it's just Lavish. In a 1v4, the drone comes first, 13 seconds on the clock, the Spiker being there on his shoulders as well. An additional responsibility might actually funnel towards the C side, but can he arrange for that plant? No, he gives up. He gives up. Asterisk will equal things up with the 10-10, but this has been such an amazing round from Asterisk. No risks being committed, and all of that came just because of that first kill. So, the win condition is set. Aggressive. Get those first kills, find a discipline to hold on to angles, and just keep piling up that pressure against Last Hope to win this first map.
Absolutely. They also need to make sure that their trades are on point with one another. A lot of these rounds really just came down to them not really trading each other well enough. And you never want to be in a situation like this. Asterisk. They've put in the hours, they put in the time, and they put in the effort. They just need to find that execution that works out well for them. Team play and synergy is not the problem. It's just when this team gets a little bit too excited, they have a tendency of making a lot of those big mistakes that keep on piling up. Ultimates have already been utilized, B-side getting fully taken over. With the close proximity fights also a little big issue. All these players gonna be spotted out by the Owl Drone. Good utilization of utility to force them over and out into a very difficult corner. Genesis will get caught out, but at least he can play in the close angle without any worries in the entire world. Spams are already coming in. That's going to be the half defuse already done. Now they just need to hold and survive for as long as they possibly can. Players coming in towards the backline. Little Boy's going to be able to find 2. Karamo with the last couple. Players spotted out. And with the final kills, they keep on holding. 10-11, ladies and gentlemen, as Asterisk back in the lead and back to the 11th. 1 round away for them to get into match point and possibly to take away the map of Haven.
No, this is where I think Last Hope can actually fall. They have to maintain their composure. They've actually done fantastic so far inside this half. 5 rounds in regular intervals to actually halt the momentum, and this time once again they come in with full weaponry. A couple of them though in light shields, but it's okay. You can trade that shield for those utilities, but last hope, they need to make sure to try and get those early kills. And look at the chase, and look at the hunt for Asterisk starting again. They want to capture spaces as quickly as they possibly can. As last hope, they do decide the site. They breach past the defenses, but Ryzen holding on to that position beautifully, and that results in so many of the oppositions falling. Hunter's Fury doing again the job. Caramel in position, did find success, but now we find ourselves in a 1v3 as Xeon, the spike, lies right next to his comrades and their carcasses. The drone will find his positioning. Yash will try and challenge him onto a duel. 50 seconds on the clock. That man has a lot of time to actually make this happen. The Cyber Cage is not going to hold on to that aggression for long. Neither does that Shock Dart do anything much as well. Halo setup. Yash finds the kill. Asterisk not really committing any mistakes whatsoever. But all of this, I believe, just because of Rising holding on to that C site so wonderfully, finding that first frag. Again, the paranoia right in time when teammates can come in and cover for the rest of the players as well. Beautiful to watch from Asterisk.
I need to see where they go. They're gonna go with this one now, because with Asterisk being at match point last hope, they need to figure out a set plan and strategy to really turn this one around. Given too much away, and possibly another one being given away too, as Yash just swinging across one after the next. They had the perfect read that they needed to go in for the final kill. The round just started and it's already over. Less than 10 seconds to finish off this first map, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as the pause comes in, the team's dynamic just shifts from a 0 to 100 in an instant. That's the antidote effect, ladies and gentlemen. He's the coach for a reason, and he has made these players into mean bean killing machines.
Sure, but my question is, if the team is so capable, then where were they in the first 8 rounds where they actually lost so much ground? I mean, you look at the first half, you look at the mistakes they were committing, right? They were all unforced errors from the opposition. And I think it's just been those rounds, like you said, the timeout and antidotes, quote-unquote, scolding, which is very funny. I think it's been that which makes him remember all these micro details, and then they go onto the pitch and follow those same details as well. But apart from that, I think the players were amazing. Asterisk getting the first map is already, I believe, what was destiny. We always thought this would be a 2-0 clean sweep, but now what comes to a matter of decision is going to be how well can Team Last Hope come back in the next map, because that becomes very interesting. We did get to see glimpses of quality coming in from Last Hope, which does give us a hint that they might be able to come out victorious against Asterisk. It's not impossible, especially with the way Juggy has been moving around, especially with the way Genesis has been playing. There is a high chance that that is a possibility, but for that to happen, this team also needs to find and recollect their, I would say, mental stability, and that without a coach and having a legend in your corner, something like that with Antidote, I think it is going to be a little difficult.
Yep. When you have a player like him just peering over your shoulders, you know for a fact that your team will always have structure when it is required to be at its most. And I still remember when I was watching Antidote play back in the day too, that when he started to talk, when he started to direct his team to be better, every single one of the players were able to find that structure that they needed to take victories. That's why he was such a successful player when Valorant first started as a game. He was part of the best team in the entire country for that very reason. But I digress. The past is a past for a reason. The good old heydays of Valorant, right, where we would get like thousands of people tuning in and almost tens of 20,000s coming in sometimes. I still remember back in the day, like during one of the TC broadcasts, that we had 20,000 people watching us during the, what we call it, the El Clasico, VLT versus GE.
Yeah.
Like those were the
Bad
good old
Clasico,
days,
brother.
man. Like, yeah.
Those definitely were.
You gotta
the
miss
good
those
old
days.
man. I miss those days. I miss the days of TC Gauntlet. I miss the days of other broadcasts that I've actually done over here as well. And I consider the Esports Club as my second home. I do so because I always love to come down and do an event for them, because it's just so wonderful. Lovely people around there in the production hall as well, ladies and gentlemen. That matters a lot. But with that being said, this map was not the last hope for Team Last Hope, because 10 to 13 is a scoreline which people will respect you for. Now, Juggy needs to find more success. I think the expectations are much higher, especially with this player being of such caliber. Genesis, again, I think we've seen much better. Yes, for sure, he does maintain a positive KD ratio. He does maintain that complexity in his game as well. In his movements, he was pretty good. But then, being Genesis, you ought to get 25 frags for your team, especially when your team relies on that Neon so much. For Lavish, Mask, and Xeon, I think it was a more of an average map. They can manage to come back stronger. But for Asterisk, I think even Ryzen has had its moments. Ryzen has had impactful moments. The last round that we just saw, Ryzen was the one man who was anchoring that seaside all by himself, the penultimate round. Yash, Kibon was so successful in the early rounds. Look at that KD ratio, man. 20, 10, 12. That is a madman level statistics over there. But the MVP, of course, is going to be Caramel. This man has been so proactive and so consistent throughout this tournament. This time coming out with 25 kills, 17 deaths, and ADR of 182, which is brilliant. Almost getting 2 francs per round over there. And a headshot percentage, which doesn't really matter considering he's a sentinel. His positional play is of more importance. But again, your thoughts, Aggressive?
Yeah, Caramel is just the face of consistency, and when you think about it, headshots are not the most consistent way to get kills, especially when you're going in for those optimum lurks. There will be certain moments where you need to go in for the body shots, especially when you're trying to find those multi-frags. And Caramel, you have to give credit to the man to find those multi-shots and those multi-frags, of course, whenever it is required. This is what Asterisk has in their arsenal. This is what they do when you really require the team to turn things around. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be heading on out over into a very short little bit to see what game number 2 has in store for us as the teams are getting prepped and ready for that one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a lot more Valorant action.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. Intel Gamer Days is here, and this time it's just me, Salty, because my friend Aggressive decided to bow out right exactly when I needed him. This is the crucial stage of this matchup. If you don't know what exactly has been happening, let me enlighten you yet again. But why the heck do you not know what is happening? Are you living on a rock? Asterisk is actually playing against Team Last Hope, and the first map was really well played, to be honest, especially from the side of Last Hope as well. They did end up on the winning streak for a while, but they lost the map eventually, losing the map to Team Asterisk 13-10. Haven done and dusted. We are going to be moving on towards Bind, which is going to be picked up by Team Asterisk themselves, so it should automatically be like a 2-0 for them. I'm not sure. But Bind, and knowing its nature, knowing the fact that Asterisk, they will once again face the likes of a double duelist composition with Jaggy running on that Reina and Asterisk, I think, struggling to handle Jaggy in the first map, to be quite frank. There can be a possibility that we get to see the third map, which is going to be Lotus, ladies and gentlemen. But I like this composition. This is what we've been playing throughout this competition so far. Majority of the teams picking either of Bind or Corrode as their two-sided map. Meanwhile, Lotus and Haven be the default picks, but I'm so eager to actually move in towards agent selection because I feel like there has been that striking difference in composition. Last time out, we saw Asterisk playing on that Omen and the Vibe composition really well. Even though they had spaces, they did commit a lot of mistakes in their disciplined composure, which resulted them losing rounds in the initial stage. But then I think the timeouts from Antidote and the little bit of piece of advices helped them quite a lot. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me center myself up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Um, being said, I think that advice is still going to be there in the second map as well, especially on the map of Pine. But talking about composure, talking about composition, will Team Last Hope come back after that loss, or are we going to see a quite easy one-sided map from Asterisk? Will be my biggest question because imagine this, right? We did see Asterisk win the last 3 rounds of that first map quite comfortably. They had no issues altogether. It just goes to show that this team is quite well adept and adapted themselves to the opposition. That is number one. Number two is going to be the fact that I feel, especially after that first map victory, a lot of the weight on the shoulders of Asterisk will be gone off as well, so they can actually freely implement their plans. And on a map of Bind, if you actually find momentum, you're going to be very hard to stop. So Asterisk are more suited to finding early momentum in this map, more suited to carrying on that momentum. And when you carry on the momentum, you're actually making a victory for yourself. So I think at the end of the day, it should be a game for Asterisk, in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, you let me know your predictions in the chat as well, because that is very important. Where are you guys? Let me find you out. Again, this is something which I usually do. Again, if I'm the only one who is casting, I love to have people, and I would have loved to actually do a system where we can actually pick out people from the chat, people from the ones who are actually watching us, and they do want us to actually come over to Discord and have a conversation with us as well, because I think that is something which I've loved to do on my streams, like having conversations with people. And if we can have that while we are watching a game, what better can happen? Now, of course, we do have to maintain certain there has to be certain ways to implement this, so we will wait on that. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, still waiting on that agent composition. Meanwhile, let me still open up the Esports Club. I did have the stream on my side. The Esports Club, here we go. I can just see myself. I am the center of attraction. And of course, I would love to bring up the game as soon as possible. But then there are difficulties at times, man. There are technical issues. Technical issues. A lot of these issues do happen. आपको कैसे पता होगा? Like, you wouldn't know, right? You don't play the game. You just watch it. So you feel like it's wait. You jump from one game to the other, but then when you actually play it, you understand that there are so many different nuances to actually take care of. And it can be as small as a player who had actually to get up from his keyboard and run off to the washroom just because he had to shit and he didn't shit in the morning. Like, that is as bad as it can get. But this is a brand stream. I'm not going to act as if it's my personal channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to stop doing that. I'm going to be formal. You don't break my flow. Meanwhile, transition comes through. We are moving on to agent selection. Let's freaking go. Finally, here we are. Last Hope, Asterisk on the map of Bind. What do we get? A Viper on the side of Asterisk. Caramel takes up the rims. You've got Yash with Raze. Wow, a KO coming through. This is something which I like. And I think if they also go ahead with the Fade, a lovely combination. Huh? You've got information, you've got reconnaissance, you've also got flashes. This can be the new initiator composition coming in from Asterisk. A lovely stuff. And at the helm of it all, you have that double controller. The double controller, double initiator, and a single duelist composition seems to be like a risky pick, but then Viper can act as a Super Sentinel and stuff like this in positions like these. On the other side, Last Hope, they're actually going with a much more trivial composition, with Clove being the only controller, and they've got a Sentinel Cypher. Again, no surprises. What does surprise me is the change of role coming in from Lavish and Shuggy picking up that Clove. Now, Clove and Reyna are quite similar, so I guess Juggy would love to have those abilities in his arsenal, the single fragging capabilities. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. On one end, you've got a very interesting combination. You've got a double initiator and a double controller setup. And on the other side, you've got a very trivial double duelist composition, but not so much, because as controllers, they're running a Clove, which can again act very aggressively. And also, you've got the Yoru in the mix of things as well. Let me know in the chat if you guys are watching, if you guys are very active about what is happening on the stream. Let me know in the chat. I think I would love to interact, but looking at the map, but looking at the position where things stand, I still feel like this composition, the double initiator and the double controller setup, can work wonders for Asterisk if they do decide to take up the spaces. Now, why did I say that this composition is dicey at the start of the first map? Because I did not know how well they are going to capture the spaces, how well they're going to move forward. But now, with them showing glimpses of that speed, of that pace, and them showing signs that they can actually pull off those kills against Last Hope quite comfortably if they do decide to actually maintain that discipline. I think that is enough for the rest of us to actually enjoy the rest of the game. But when will the game begin? Is my question. These are the time. These are the time. My words, my feathers in my ears tingle me, saying, ladies and gentlemen, the games are gonna begin very soon, by the way. It's just moments of wait, the anticipation. The players are there. Imagine this, right? If Last Hope do manage to win this map, um, they would pull off possibly the upset of the tournament. They would pull off something which nobody would have thought, because remember this, Asterisk, they are these are very well talented individuals, very talented youngsters that are actually respected in the tier 1 circuit of the community as well. They are being coached by one of the greatest tier 1 players that we saw in a while, that was Antidote. Antidote led a team at the top of tier 1 Valorant India for at least 4 or 5 years, with 3 years with Orangutan, 2 years with Revenant Esports or Movo Esports, whatever. I think the impact has been immense, but then can you translate that as a coach? I think is going to be the biggest question. And I'm not sure if that thing has been translated well, especially with the kind of trivial mistakes that Team Asterisk does manage to commit. But it seems like I've got some company, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some mates who are right next door, who are actually looking at everything that I'm doing, and they are reacting to it as well. Have you looked at a monkey ever? It's almost like looking at a monkey in a zoo. It seems like a lot of dances, a lot of entertainment. It's also very similar here as well. I'm not saying that I mind. This is what I'm getting paid for, but adding to IRL viewers is completely different. And I think that just proves I can yap forever. अगर मैं बात करूँ, I think my job has been suiting me for a while. I can just yap. I can yap about games. I can yap about video games. I can yap about anything under the sun. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you good news. No more yapping, because we are heading straight into the match in about 30 seconds. The map has been loaded up, the players are geared up. We are good to roll. So can we get some shakalaka boom boom? Yeah, shakalaka. Nee. Run dete. Ladies and gentlemen, Intel Gamer Days, the map of importance, the map of Bind. We head on to the game in just a wee while. Right about now. Well, finally. Sure, we are inside. It's those long hours of absolute nothing. That does chew up my head, to be honest. I mean, I don't mind long waits, but it's the anticipation where you know the game can begin sooner. But nonetheless, we aren't going to rave about the past, but instead we are going to anticipate the future 5 odd seconds before Asterisk this comes charging up on the attacking side of things. Last hope on the defensive side. Look at the composition yet again. Double controller, double initiator. A lot of information to work with if they do decide to join forces. Utilities being thrown in from Last Hope, which does give us a little bit of a hint that an A hit is imminent. The wall will aid Team Last Hope to actually fall back, but Asterisk already have control over lamps. Deep into enemy territory. They find themselves a couple of kills right now. Asterisk with a man advantage will fall as Genesis finds 2 of his own. Asterisk, they are in deep trouble. But the pain shell from Last Hope finding the last player, which is so weird, to be honest. I did not expect that from happening, but nonetheless. Weird things happening on weird days, ladies and gentlemen. Last Hope with that first round quite comfortable, to be honest. I did not feel that the 2v4 will be so easy for them, but Genesis, knowing him and his tendencies inside of the server, we know that this man can actually change the course of a game anytime soon. On the other side, Asterisk, look at that. 5 men, at least 3 towards Showers. Outlaw finds the hunt. 2 players have been taken down, but Team Asterisk still push on forward for that orb, but needs to move back. All of their players have been marked in with that Fate utility. It was quite well positioned over there. Yes, it's been caught up. Mask quite comfortably picks up yet another kill, and Asterisk in position to win and yet another round. Not Asterisk, pardon me for that last hope. 5 men still alive. Team Asterisk has been denied entry on towards Showers, turning into a graveyard. A couple of their players falling in towards a transition area as well. This time, the camera being activated finds the first frag. Dink was clean. The Dink is clean the next time as well. Keyboard falls. Last hope. They find their second quite comfortable. On the other side, Asterisk. Look at that. Man, as soon as the players were spotted, the Outlaw just came out instinctively. It's almost as if you know you're there to actually find those kills. And remember this, you are Last Hope. You are supposed to be the defensive team, but to find spaces like this and to charge against spaces like this is brilliant to have that balls to actually do that. Well done, Team Last Hope, but Asterisk. On the other side, I think will start finding themselves a little bit of counter to this problem this time, moving on towards the B side, finding it open. One of their players, that is the Viper, on towards the A side, the Viper wall, doing majority of the diversion, but entry has still not been found. Meanwhile, Little Boy, one of the controller falls, and Viper left onto the A side means that they will have to move in towards that A side, and this is brilliant coming in from Asterisk. They finally managed to find the entry quite comfortably, but they did not have the smokes, but they do have the bullets as Yash finds Lavish. Beautiful technique on that long-range encounter, but Genesis, as long as this man is still alive, I think he's going to cause problems. The pain shield comes out, timing on to Keyboard. He finds that frag in a 1v3 right now. This man is known to cause wonders, but as soon as he ventures towards lamps, I think his position will be marked, and so will from the cybercam. Does get dinged. Utility from that fate coming through. Mask with the Sheriff. Last hope of beautiful stuff. In spite of the buy coming in spite of that entry coming in, it seems like Genesis has always been the differentiator. And I think it's not just being about the differentiator, it's also that angles are being left unchecked. There are too many fights in the default angles that how will you find the manpower to actually combat the unorthodox ones? It'll always be problematic when players like Genesis manage to find the blind spots of the opposition, and they do so really well. This time, on the other side, a little bit of utility is being fought on towards that B long territory as a fade. A couple of these do get exchanged. Genesis, I feel like, will have information about these players' presence, but he's not looking at the right angle. Caramel punishes him for it as Asterisk strike coming in from the hookah region. They've got so many kills for themselves, but Lavish, he gets killed, teleports away to safety and finds reunion with Chuggy himself. In his 3v2 right now, does have the outlaw for those long distance engagements, and that is their strength. But do they have information about that? Stingers against an outlaw is always an uphill battle, but it seems like they're not even taking it. Chuggy had that better weaponry, but the Spectre in close range, but the Stinger in close range, ladies and gentlemen, is so crucial, is so deadly. Asterisk, with one round, they've completely changed the trajectory of this game once again. They've understood win conditions, they've understood how to defeat these oppositions, is to find those kills when the opposition and their covers are up. This round we saw Genesis looking at a wrong angle and Caramel taking advantage of that. That is in fact the first kill of that man inside of the server so far. But that resulted in Asterisk getting their first round lead. Information being gathered from either ends. The game of tag and pull, Yash quite close, the clone being sent in. It seems like Team Last Hope wants to push up, and Lavish being successful over there in those close quarters is brilliant. Genesis, all of a sudden they've decided to stop. Last Hope once pushing out. Now after a kill and setting up the man advantage, they come back and hold the site with such amazing stubbornness, to be honest. You see not an inch of muscle being changed up. And it's all Lavish and Mask waiting for the right opportunity to pounce. This is disciplined Valorant coming in from Team Last Hope and Asterisk. They aren't being unable to find the connections onto these pairs. Keep on, will find Mask as Lavish finds the third. Caramel left completely useless. Last Hope with 3 players alive. I don't really think Asterisk have an opportunity in this game. All the 3 players in positions where they are supposed to win this fight. Information being passed in. They know where exactly this man is. Ducky not making any mistakes as Last Hope get their 4th round on board. The first round for Team Asterisk coming in with a couple of those unforced errors, but it seems like unless and until Team Last Hope do defensive errors, Team Asterisk has no chance of breaking past this. And it's so surprising because they've got the double initiator set up in check. They are the ones who should have more information on the map, not Team Last Hope, but it's the spaces that Last Hope are capturing early on in the rounds, which gives them an amazing opportunity to strike. But we've always seen timeouts like this, especially called in from Antidote, can change things up for Asterisk. This time, and it actually changed their fate, will be my question. 2 ultimates on their side. They've got the KO ultimate as well as the orbital strike. Pardon me for that, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of these names are out of my memory. As on the other side, you do get to see the dimensional drift that can again be such a nuisance for Asterisk if things do decide to go against their favor. You've got the showstopper as well that can turn rounds on its favor. So Last Hope once again in a position where they can just get the 5th round on board, set up the difference yet again. Let's find out if that does happen. It seems like it is going to be a rather balanced buy from the side of Team Asterisk. Meanwhile, Last Hope, they've got themselves those big weaponry. Lavish got 3 kills of his own, but still could not actually find Asterisk. A mistake once again. Look at that. Last hope. 3 players alive coming in from different directions. Keyboard is going to be spotted 5th round on board quite comfortably. This is something which we anticipated, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that we knew is going to happen. And once again, like, how long are you going to be finding mistakes, right? You've seen the pattern from last hope. They will push you out. Right, they will push you out in those early engagements, will find a kill for themselves, and then they hold back. They hold back with a lot of discipline, which is so hard to always break by Asterisk. This time, once again, on the Sheriff, been reduced to max loss bonus, will have almost nothing to fight against. And it almost seems like last hope they are setting themselves an unprecedented lead on this first half of Bind. The first half not really going in the favor of Team Asterisk right now, will find themselves in a lot of trouble. And one of the reasons why I think Team Last Hope are in such amazing form is because of the first map jitters. As soon as we saw the final few rounds of that first map coming by, we knew that this is not going to work out. Look at that, the Cypher Tripwire has been broken right the extent where it was supposed to be broken, but this time, Xeon holding on to that angle. Ultimates from the Fade, the Nightfall coming through from Last Hope in a hope to try and funnel Team Asterisk in this corner. Elbow being set up, 5 players looking to peek. This can actually be a brawl, a long distance engagement where all 10 players almost face each other for a second, but this neural threat is going to reveal everything. Look at those fights being isolated, Last Hope being so devastating on the opposition. It's still 2v3 right now. Making Keyboard a 2v2, yes he does it! Very crucial, but the defenders still managed to win as the spike gets defused. Jackie with the ninja and 2 more kills to just rub salt on the wounds of the opposition. Last hope destroying the one singular piece of hope that I believe Asterisk just had, and it made absolute no sense. Yes, they had the shortage of economy, yes, they had the shortage of financial stability, but to leave the site wide open, especially you've planted the spike and getting involved into a street fight over there. It was a madman brawling on towards that elbow region where all 5 players got themselves mixed up, jumbled up, completely forgot about the spike. This is trivial mistakes being committed, not likely from a team that has been led by Antidote. Yash this time with the showstopper finds one, but it has been traded out. 4 versus 4 right now as Last Hope, 4 players alive. They are holding on to that angry positions, but Jackie with the ultimate is still going to find resurrection, and look at those kills go. Smoke's been popped in, it's been pushed out. Jackie finds 2 of his own as Last Hope once again set up an insurmountable man advantage. 1v2 with just 1 man surviving. Raisin has been slain off. 7-1 the scoreline this time. I love this scoreline, to be honest, because I think Asterisk still has the opportunity of a comeback, and if they do decide to actually make that happen, it has to happen soon enough. Have to go in for yet another full economy. And once that does happen, I think they can stitch together a strategy. The goal is simple, to try and fight for 7-5, but if not, possibly an 8-4. Asterisk, the defensive composure is brilliant, and we've seen that the double controller can actually set themselves up. But Lavish once again finds success. One of the controllers is going to fall, and this has been the problem. All these pushes has been uncontrolled from the side of Asterisk. They have been unable to find themselves any sort of success in the early rounds, and that is what Last Hope has been feeding upon. 2v4 this time will find themselves the weaponry to fight with. Caramel on that Sheriff will be successful yet again. Xeon finding that kill, Ryzen in this corner with that stinger. Can spray and pray against one of the opposition. Not the final one, not the last 2. He did have the Sheriff but could not finish that jump animation. I almost fell for a second. He finished things off in style. What a beautiful collateral that was. He almost dodged those bullets coming in from the shorty as well, but the sheriff just being a tad too slow, I believe, in that instance. Might switch onto the shorty next round, but asterisk. This is time if they do want to clean things up quick, if they do want to end things early, and they did not want to fight this map until the last map. They will have to react to the situation. Risen. Phantoms being launched in Lavish, being found yet again. But this time, the early aggression not paying off. Lil Boy has been extremely silent throughout this game, ladies and gentlemen. You see his contribution across the map. You find the Brimstone never available. It's not his fault, but the fact that you've got to go in for those early engagements, being a controller, being such a crucial controller. Because the Viper, you can't change the trajectory of that wall later on in the half. You are committed to the side. But being a Brimstone, it means you have that variability, you have that flexibility of choice. This time, once again, it seems like Fade and Viper is going to give away some sort of information as Cypher is waiting deep into his side. The camp is going to reveal majority of those tactics. Spikes might just get planted as Xeon finds some space for himself. The cam is still active and nothing has been checked so far. He tries to spray into the boxes but finds no success, will be pushed back. And with that being said, the Viper Spit has been activated. Asterisk will have to defend it from within. 2 players inside, 2 players out. Ash, Yash finds the first one. Might actually go in for the second. Yes, he does. Successful on towards the lamps. 1 more player still surviving, and that is going to be Genesis with the operator and the showstopper. I think he'll try to cut down on the losses, but he will still give away on that big gun. 8-2 the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. And when it's 8-2, you know as a matter of fact that 8-4 is a relative possibility, especially if Asterisk do find rounds like these. It's just that they aren't consistent. They're never consistent, especially in their plannings as well. Finding the first frag has been so instrumental for both the teams and the success. Last round, Lavish was the one whose overcommitment gave Asterisk an immense advantage, to be honest. And I think they will try and find it yet again. But look at the economy on the side of Team Lastok in spite of that round. Losing that round, I think Lavish did not think twice before committing on towards the operator. Position changed this time. Asterisk try to hint on towards the B side. The cyber tripwire is there. Will they be able to breach past their defenses? Will be the question as Jaggy and Lavish hold their positions. The operator in place needs to go in for some super kills this time now. Asterisk finding entry will be important, and they do have the showstopper in, but that has been nullified. I don't know how, but on the back of that flash from the distance, Xeon was so proactive with the peak. Yash did not anticipate that from happening, and now Asterisk once again will be forced onto making a step. Keybon will find success that forces Caramel to follow up suit on their chase, but what an execute has it been. Ryzen still selling the fake A site wide open. Spike can just get planted, but it seems like Asterisk has other plans to do this. Spike getting planted on towards the A side. Caramel still holding on to it. Genesis on that rocket launcher finds Keybomb. That was almost suicide, but Genesis has been taken down. Caramel, the guardian angel of that A side, has been doing it for long. Finds a triple for himself. We talked about how that Viper can actually be a pseudo sentinel. Will face the operator and the rat. Lavish can certainly change the course of the round with that operator, but can he do it at 10 HP will be the question. Little Boy is going to pre-fire that angle. Finds Lavish through the boxes. 3rd round for Asterisk and potentially a 4th as well. And that does happen. All that they will be left to do is just get the pistol round in the next half. Eight to 3 the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. Last hope, they certainly are sort of halting themselves in the path to success. It was almost a march towards enemy territory and getting themselves killed, but now all of a sudden Asterisk find themselves a little bit of breathing room as well as a lot of space to get themselves those first kills. This time though, once again, and Team Lastic are going to push out those angles. Lavish in duels that he loves thriving upon, but all of a sudden Asterisk strike back 3 kills in quick succession that gives them such a massive lead, and Juggy will be the last one surviving. All 4 players from that B side has been killed, ladies and gentlemen. That came in one quick sweep. That was brilliant from their side. 8-4 once again, and it seems like Asterisk have finally found momentum. On the defensive side though, they have their task cut out. Find themselves, you will have to go out and find those pistol kills, otherwise I think it does not work out for you. We've seen comebacks from 10-4, we've seen matches change from that position itself, but against Last Hope, I think they've been very proactive in punishing Asterisk and their mistakes. It's just momentum that works out for Asterisk, and Antidote will get some time to actually counsel these boys. And I hope that the only thing that he tells them is to try and maintain your composure, even if you're not to win those early engagements, because that is somewhat 50-50. You cannot never kind of control those early engagements unless and until you kind of throw in every piece of utility at the opposition. Rising, waiting for those sound cues, need to throw in, need to push past where he moves in the seas, comes through as 3 kills pop up right in the nick of time. The 4th comes in as well as one more player does manage to survive, and it is going to be the likes of Xeon. Asterisk winning the pistol round that was asked of them. 8-6 is almost in the horizon, but before we call that out, 28 HP and a man with a dream will always try to find back. Asterisk look push this smoke, and Xeon will understand that he does have a hint of what exactly Asterisk will try and do, and now they have information. This is almost a suicide at this point. Not suicide, I would say homicide. Chit chat going on, ladies and gentlemen. If you are liking our broadcast and my quite embarrassing solo commentary, make sure you actually hit that subscribe button. It helps us quite a lot. Make sure you like the stream, because I think we have about 40 people watching, but we aren't quite able to hit that like number. So if you haven't yet liked the stream, please make sure you do so. And let me tell you this: if you actually want to be involved in pro plays like this, you need pro level equipment, and a lot of those deals are going ahead at Reliance Digital. Make sure you actually go ahead in the description and check them out. Offers ending till 14th of September. But coming back to the game, Last Hope, 8-5 the score line. They have been losing a lot of these rounds, especially from 8-2. I believe it's been a constant run for Asterisk. 3 back-to-back rounds. This time Juggy in open arms with the classic though. Not really finding success. Keybon will spot this. There are a couple of those kills coming through. The judge quite instrumental in success. Asterisk once again just punished the likes of Last Hope. This time quadra from on the backs of Keybon, almost completing that comeback, I must say, from 82 to 8-6. It's been a steady climb, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel like with the full buy coming in from Last Hope, this will be one of the opportunities to actually strike back, but otherwise it's going to be a tough job for these lads to actually hold back Asterisk. With it being said, Asterisk, all 5 players, this time they're looking in for a A-shot push. 4 players, in fact, giving away the A side for free almost, but we've also got Caramel holding onto the B side. Mask finds success onto Yash. Now this is a very advanced kill, and they would understand this already, that if Team Asterisk has actually pushed up this early, a lot of those spaces back in the open, have been left unchecked. Can they try and capture it is going to be the question as Lavish finds yet another kill. Last Hope finding themselves a group that they had missed for a while now. Enough is enough. Asterisk, they were flaunting their success. This time though, Last Hope finding those early kills, they will transfer this energy on towards them. A massive advantage to work with as they tiptoe their way on towards that B side. Viper wall being established, but Lil Boy on that Guardian is going to find Genesis. Look at the clone being sent in. Caramel reads through that. Is going to find the first one. Instantly goes inside the tunnel and his face is a lot more lavish. With a 3 kill of his own, and Team Last Hope diminishing, reducing Asterisk to just an asterisk. Look at that. Lavish and Xeon in the final few moments, getting those kills have been crucial because they've been the top fraggers, they've been the flag bearers, especially Lavish to be honest, because inside of that first half, when he was the one progressing into enemy territory, he was always getting that early advantage. And we know Valorant, how important landslide is. Once things start getting in your favor, it almost becomes nigh impossible to make a comeback. And this is one of the reasons why clutches are so special inside of this game. With fewer pieces of utility, with less options left in your arsenal, it almost becomes inevitable to just give up your lives, ladies and gentlemen. But with 9-6, the scoreline being at this juncture right now, Last Hope once again feeling themselves confident. Clover will put up the smoke, but somewhere Caramel finds Mask. It's definitely not inside of the A territory. But A is where majority of the action is going to happen. The spike does travel in, the smokes from the Brimstone will kind of hold back Last Hope, but that is only for a second as they do breach past on the back of that Viper cloud. The poison cloud will of course diminish. Caramel will find success against Lavish. Caramel 3 kills once again. This man has always been holding the A site with finesse. This time Keyboard comes in the picture as well, and only one man, Xeon, will be surviving at this point. Keyboard will find the kill and Asterisk will fight back. 9-7 is the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. And as things stand, it's very hard to try and decipher. It's going to be very hard to decipher who gets this map in their bag. Last Hope, possibly not their last hope in winning this fight, but this time have been reduced to sheriffs. Not a buy that they are going to enjoy, and Genesis did have that shotgun. The judge could have actually been quintessential later on in this round, but this time it's been shut down early. Asterisk in position. They know what they are facing up against, but they're still not giving in to the pressure of the opposition. But Xeon this time manages to strike, and he does so. 2 very important kills being found on towards the B side, and the side has been left open. Spike will get planted, and these are the mistakes will Asterisk will have to avoid. Do have the KO ultimate, by the way. Yash coming in from hookah. Juggy did not spot that. Did not see that coming, and now falls prey to this man. The Raze does have a couple of those pieces to try and breach past, but does the satchel come out will be my question. It does not need to. Triple kill from Yash as Xeon still manages to fight back, but for how long? As a quadra from Yash will find Xeon. Asterisk on the 8th round. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like we are in for cinema. This is a good Valorant being played from either side, to be honest. Yes, for sure, a lot of those kills are coming on the back of trades. There are no tactical outclasses, but to be honest, when you watch a tier 2 match like this, you don't really expect that tactical masterclass. Trade games happening left, right, quite flawlessly, that too. And I feel like flawless executes like these, they in itself, I believe, are the beauty of the tier 2 circuit. But this time it seems Genesis will be the ones to pick up that timeout. what shall be the timeout for? If you do decide to actually play in the way you do, how can timeouts help you? Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, Asterisk, 8th round on board for them already. Just one round away from evening things up, and look at the timeline. I think that is of the prime essence. You've got Last Hope just dominating the first half of the match. Things were 8-1 at one point, and here we stand, 9-8 the score line, the one round away. Last Hope and Asterisk, they duel things out, with Asterisk having that advantage, but I don't think Caramel has information. If he does decide to peek once again, could have actually found himself on the receiving end of that operator strike, but at least information has been passed. There is one operator that is going to be in the hands of the attackers, and you've got to be wary about it. Long range fights, an absolute no-no for Asterisk. We know how important are those opening frags. Sites break open, it's so difficult, and so does the defenders. Both these two teams, they do have snipers to work with. Lavish, though, in a very aggressive position. Yash knows that there will be a possibility. He does TP back away towards onto the B side as the execute has been flawless, but Caramel has been waiting here since eternity. This man did not change his position since forever. Would have actually found an ace over there, but this is inhuman stuff that is coming in from Caramel inside this game. This man just changing the outcomes of every single fight on his own accord. And now, with just one player surviving, he's asked to go against 3 with an operator in hand. He would rather save it because it's crucial for their success. But what on earth did Caramel just do there? He's been so good on those defensive sides, especially in the 3 rounds. I think a couple of those occasions he found himself a quadra, and one of those occasions he found himself a triple. This is inhuman stuff coming in from him. He did face the operator, but his instincts decided to not face him. Rather, let's just say, not peek him per se. We had this engagement of Lavish versus Caramel, but that did get disengaged because of that poison cloud. But as soon as this man turns back into the side, and Team Last Hope potentially thought that they could actually flood in from that hookah region, man comes back and slaps 4 of them. Slaps 4 of them dead, to be honest. It's been beautiful stuff from their end. 9-9 is the scoreline as Lavish, 2 operator strikes from 2 ends, finding 2 impact frags. And gentlemen, Lavish finds 2 of his own. Risen, Keybon, double kills coming in from there as well. It's just one player on Xeon who still stands, and Keybon on the hunt for that last one. Yash is at raise. He knows that the spike has been dropped, so Xeon has to be somewhere near. But this can be genius, to be honest. To leave the spike behind, it can come back from positions that he's unanticipated, but everything's going to be given away. Damage being dealt, information being passed, headshots being connected. Asterisk, they finally lead for the first time inside of this game so far. But what a piece of mind would they have achieved after this? This has been such an amazing comeback, and this is one of the reasons why I always say that 8-1, 7-1, these are good score lines, because there's always a chance that you will mount a comeback, especially after I believe reacting so much to your opposition's play. You get used to it, and anti-stratting them becomes so much more easier. Asterisk seems to have avoided those early map conflicts so well. It doesn't really bother them right now. Smoke's being placed. Lavish Moves in towards the side. He did have the dimensional drift as Caramel finds one and falls back almost instantly. A side success has been found, but the spike was not planted, as they do is decide to hit back instead. This is insane stuff, but Lavish, he actually gets caught out. The spike actually travel on towards the beast little boy. He and Zeon come face to face and wins the argument. He wins the duel, but not the trade. Yash successful on that mid-range encounter. Genesis has been taken down 2v4 for these two lads as they do decide to roam about, but finally hit back the A side. Misses on the first opportunity. Second one on towards Caramel, on towards Heaven. The smoke being laid upon there. Rabbit find the first kill. He teleports away to his brother. This has been a good use of positioning, but Yash finally finds it. It's going to be the last man. The one with the third eye could not really do much. Kibon finds Shuggy, and the third kill has been found. 11th round on board for Team Asterisk. Team Lasto could only get one round in the last 10 rounds that we have played so far. It's nuts. In the last 10-12 rounds that we've played so far, Team Last Hope just had one, ladies and gentlemen. That in itself just goes to show how well Team Asterisk has had Team Last Hope choked on their strat. Genesis this time will send in with that alarm bot. Not the alarm bot, by the way. The boom bot. Lavish does have the flash, does not catch anyone. Caramel is still yet hesitant to peek, and I think it's been this discipline from Caramel that has always had his team so much advantage, waiting for Horizon and the rest of the party to into the mix of things coming from the CD side, and they do decide to come through. But now it's time to peek out and get those kills for yourself, because otherwise there is going to be no space. Look at the minimap, ladies and gentlemen. 10 players in just one side, everybody waiting for the opposition to try and make a mistake. For a second it was the Viper spit being committed, but no, it's again the poison cloud. Controllers from either side just waiting for that space as nobody decides to engage. Crouch is being there as soon as the spike plan being heard. The rocket comes out. Genesis finding success. Players from Asterisk come in and dive in to fight as well. Caramel and keep on doing so brilliant over there, and yet again Caramel with a triple kill of his own, being so patient. But as soon as the opportunity strikes, this man just comes up, pops out of the window, and pops up the head of the opposition. This is so good to watch. To run away from Asterisk, taking this away in a 2-0 fashion. And I would love from happening, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat. Know what you guys think. If you want Team Last Hope to actually make a comeback in this one, if you want to see an overtime, or do you want Team Asterisk to just run away with it and potentially make their journey further inside these lower brackets? I would want to see if it's lower bracket, by the way. Antidote taking up a timeout right before, or rather right after match point. Them that last strat, last piece of advice to clean things up. Asterisk, they've had their fair share of struggles, they've had their fair share of problems as well, but when things stand, but they can change their fate, they've always managed to do so. The map of Haven, it was at this juncture, it was at that 9-9 junction, Asterisk completely changed their shape and steamrolled past the opposition. It seems like tonight it's been that 9 mark for Team Asterisk. As soon as Team Last Hope gets that 8th round on board, Asterisk giving them any opportunities, and now it's been steamrolling past what Team Last Hope can handle. Block that B site with that Viper, denying any sort of real estate, getting everything for himself. It is going to be Keybon. It's going to be Caramel, pardon me for that. He gets the entirety of that B-long lobby, which Lavish might try to disregard, but it's going to be a good idea. To challenge the Viper spit, it is nuts, especially when you don't have information. Though on towards the sniper is going to find information. 4 players being suppressed and being spotted as well. Lavish finish come together. 3 frags being secured. 2v4 right now. Is Caramel still holds on to this position. Man has been the man of impact, and now I think the breach towards the A side, so where there is Ryzen holding his position. Flash comes in, first man falls, can actually get in, but no way. These two players stitched together a good partnership. Caramel in the nick of time might just get himself an opportunity of his life. The pain shell being there, anticipating that the distance might just have been heard. Genesis finds Caramel. No, wait, it was actually vice versa, but it is Xeon who actually puts it. 10th round on board for Team Last Hope. Possibly one more opportunity for Team Asterisk to close things out before we move on to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. If things stand like this, where will you take this game? I'm still rooting for Asterisk. I think as soon as this game ends, you would know how much it actually meant to the lads of Asterisk. But for now, 3 players on towards the B side, 2 holding on down A. A couple of these players rising, finding Juggy, but the ultimate being popped in gives Last Hope that amazing advantage to work with. Man advantage so crucial in this one. Still, a lot of these utilities do manage to survive. Look at that, Juggy finds success. Caramel has been popped off the server, and this man is overhealed. He will get back to safety, but there is nobody to protect Asterisk and their wrath from Rise and Falls as well. Last Hope, they are taking away every sort of momentum from Asterisk. A couple of kills being executed by Keyboard. Flash does come in, but he bears a brunt of that pain shell. Takes it on his face as Genesis finds that one. 11th round on board for Team Last Hope, and I'm not sure if Asterisk will find themselves their money to buy some amazing weaponry in this round. Asterisk, this time I see a much different approach coming in from them, quite spread out on towards that A side, 3 players anticipating that A hit. But as things stands, 2 players holding on to that B side should be enough. Transition from Last Hope on towards the B side, Xeon will fall back a little bit, to be honest. That utility from the Fade is going to push him back a little bit, but he follows up. Original drift has been applied. Lavish finding space for the rest of his team. Does have the flash and the clone as well. Popped off his ultimate, looking for those kills. Genesis with the pain shell is going to find the first piece of success. Little boy falls. This is the hunt for overtime, ladies and gentlemen. As Team Last Hope, after that chaos on towards that B side, take that teleport and move towards the A hit. They find the A side quite open, but it's just one man, Caramel, holding on to this fort, and he's been so successful doing it. So far, find the first man information has been passed, but this time with the Guardian, will find success! First head being popped out, needs to wait for the second as the next players come in. Keep on with the Bulldog Caramel with the Guardian. The timing is nigh perfect. One last opportunity to clean things up. Asterisk in a 3v2 as Juggy brings things back. Risen from the back lines. They know it's just one last player. Xeon from in showers coming in with the Vandal. Keep on. Both of them will beat together on Asterisk. Right from the brink of death, they bring it back and win this map. They do not let this go to overtime and possibly just toying their oppositions. A little bit of hiccups at the start of either maps, ladies and gentlemen, but right in the end, it's been a one-way traffic. Asterisk have been absolutely flawless. Wow, what a game and what a time. solo commentating on it. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the chat how well, or rather, if you guys are enjoying the matches. Until then, let me also tell you this, that there are some amazing offers that are ahead at Reliance Digital. Make sure you actually check the links in the description, because that is where you're going to find more detail and some links in the chat as well. So if you actually hover over to the chat, there is a little bit of an esports club message out there. It's because I'm actually reading the chat delay as well as talking to you guys. There is a massive delay in communicating. That is possible. But nonetheless, I think it's a fair share of evening asterisk with so much lead and so much risk being on their shoulders, losing on those two, but they did manage to actually hold on to that turf really well. Now we are waiting, not for my friend aggressive, but we're actually waiting to actually see the stats, and once we do that, we will get to know, of course, that Team Asterisk, they move on ahead in this lower bracket competition. Last Hope will definitely get eliminated, but who are they playing? All the bracket information, ladies and gentlemen, will be updated later on. But for now, I'm still waiting for the MVP stats, who becomes the MVP, of course, because I think that is a very important thing to understand. And apart from that, some things which you need to know: who was the top fragger, who was the bottom fragger, who was the one who did not have any impact whatsoever, that one guy in a group project who never really does anything but always steals away the credit. I think all of these things will need to be figured out. Lavish is in chat, ladies and gentlemen. He says, "Shit, man." Nonetheless, man, I think you tried really well, and I love your aggressive nature. It's just that I think when we meet at the tier one circuit, you might just be the next big thing, but there's still time. There's still time for it. So we'll hold on to that horses, ladies and gentlemen. Production, can we fill in? When are we showing the statistics? Because I think a lot of us, a lot of our users, they are waiting, and I know what you guys are waiting for, to see the MVP, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't be surprised if Caramel is the MVP, considering that there were multiple quadra kills and triple kills coming in from his side. Man was brilliant and man was ruthless. Lavish fans in the chat, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of Lavish fans in the chat, and I love that. I love that. Uh, and it seems like, moving ahead to the statistics, thank you, production, being so quick on those fingers and the calculations. I'll take it on from here on out. Look at that. Hope with 11 rounds, Asterisk with 13 rounds of their own. It was Lavish from Last Hope who did play well, of course. That is what people are praising him for. 20 kills, 19 deaths, 290 ACS. I think as long as he was getting those four first kills, I think at the start of this entire map itself, things were going fine. But as soon as they stopped, the team choked majorly, and one of the reasons was because the Viper choke code from this one was insane. Caramel being so good, ladies and gentlemen. We move on to the MVP of the match, and of course, it will be Caramel, ladies and gentlemen. The entire series being dominated by this lad. 50 kills, a half century in just 2 mappers is a brilliant performance. If you did not know, 33 deaths, 293 ACS, which means that he's almost providing value worth 293 points every single round, damage worth 2 kills every single round. Headshot percentage might not be according to your liking, might not be same level stats, but this is impact, ladies and gentlemen, that we are talking about. With that being said, it was a fantastic evening, gentlemen. And I think if you guys enjoyed the gameplay, I'm pretty sure you would also love to be a part of such as well. And for that, all you've got to do is to make sure you visit the links in the description, because all the Intel products that are up for sale in digital are linked down below. Make sure you actually visit the links. The sale will run till 14th of September. But tomorrow we'll come back with the same Valorant action. Don't we will be back. Until then, it's all. Thank you so much for joining. Bye from the Intel Gamer Days. See you tomorrow.